Welcome back to the 10,000 Adventures podcast. Sitting here with Max. Max, has been a week since we've got together. How's your week been?
Yes, sir. It's been good. Good to be back here in the studio with you. Actually had a pretty eventful week. On Friday, I think midweek actually, I went and saw sister-in-law's hockey game. She coaches high school hockey for Edina, girls hockey. Got to see them win their section, and so that was fun.
Yeah,
see
fun.
A team win section, go to state. That's, I played high school hockey, and it's for a lot of people. I mean, for Edina, it's not necessarily the pinnacle of hockey career because it's winning state, but for a lot of hockey players, I think high school, like the pinnacle is winning that section championship and like the anticipation of going to state. So that was fun. And then they won their first round at state, and I went and watched them play in the semis on Friday, this past Friday. Fortunately, they didn't get the W there, but on Saturday, I did not make that game. They did win the third place game, so congrats to Edina. Girls hockey got a third place finish, and the season on a win. That's not many teams get to do that.
Yeah, fun.
Yeah, and then on Saturday we hit up the Gopher hockey men's final regular season game at Mariucci. It had been a long time since I've been to Mariucci. I forgot how much fun those games are. So we hit up and watched them beat Ohio State, I believe. Fun game. They were down 2-0. They actually had a something I've never seen before. They had 2 5-minute majors within, essentially, they were called at the same exact time. So they had 5 minutes, kill both of them, 5-on-3 for a full 5 minutes. So they got down 2-0 after that, ended up winning like 5-2.
Do they serve booze at Mariucci? They
do now. Yep. That, I think it honestly might have been like my senior year of college, which was 2016. It hasn't been too long, since they started, serving. I want to say it was after I graduated. I'm not totally sure on that, but yep. Got a couple beers, watched the game. It's a great atmosphere. Obviously, they're a good team this year, so like everyone's pretty excited about like what could be here. Starting after Big Ten tournament in a few weeks, and then NCAA's be interesting. See if we can actually like make some noise this year, make it to the Frozen Four again.
Are they ranked number 1? Right?
Yep. They're I think there's a handful of rankings out there, but I think anyone you look at, we're number 1.
How are my St. Cloud Huskies doing?
They are, I want to say like 4, 5, 6. They're up there. They were 1 or 2 for a hot minute, having a solid season. I don't really pay attention to them much, but I know they're high in the rankings.
Yeah.
So,
I'm a huge diehard Husky fan, alumni. I'm just kidding. But about this time of year, maybe I'll watch their game if they do make, what do they call it? The NCAA tournament? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. I mean, everything got messed up with the conferences. So I don't even know what conference St. Cloud's in anymore. If it's the WCHA or the, I
think it's still WCHA. Or did that? No. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
It doesn't matter. But yeah, hockey, Minnesota. There's nothing better, and so it was fun to get out and watch some games last week. I don't get out and watch the Ghosts as much as I'd like to, especially when they're doing this well. Get out to a fair amount of wild games, and it was fun to see Sammy, my sister-in-law, coach some Medina hockey games. And Mitch, who's going to be on the episode later, hoping to maybe catch a game of his here. He's in districts.
Yep. No, regions.
Bantamay hockey. He coaches that. So, yeah. And then finally to cap off the weekend on Sunday, it was the last day for I like to go spearfishing through the ice. It's the last day for that. Last day to catch walleyes, fish for walleyes, northern pike. Essentially for since it's continuous for the foreseeable rest of the winter, you got just panfish. If you got any sort of trout opportunities, you can catch them till I think the end of March. So on Sunday, we went and speared and didn't have any luck. Tried a new spot. I've been trying to just get out and test new spots for a while here. So risked it, didn't pay off, didn't really see anything, but my uncle and I got out regardless. He saw big muskie. So that's always fun to see those huge fish when you're looking down there. It's like an aquarium and everything's under like a microscope. Everything looks huge. So it's fun to see fish. So then after we didn't have any luck with that, pivoted plans and went after some sunnies, and my parents joined us. So we caught a mess of sunnies and made the most of the rest of the day, even though would have been fun to get some pike or something like that. We caught a fair amount of 7 to 9 inch sunnies and got a future fish fry coming up here soon.
God, I can't believe it's March already. I forget that, those seasons close in the end of February, and then you're supposed to have your permanent fish house off at the end of February, too. You're supposed to only take out portable well, you can take out whatever you want, but they have to be off at night.
Yeah. I've never had a permanent, so I'm not too familiar, but yeah, a lot of the you got to pay a little bit more attention to the regulations now on like what seasons are open and which are not, and the house regulations, overnights and such like that.
Fun. Well, that was a true Minnesota weekend. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was
a little
solid.
Bit of hockey, a little bit of ice fishing. That's how you do it.
Yeah. How about you? I know you had a big trip.
Yeah, I'm spoiled, man. I know I was saying last week my flight was canceled. I actually went on a ski trip. My flight was supposed to be Thursday. It was canceled due to that big storm we had last week. Mm-hmm. But we made it out Friday morning through Tuesday. We came back on Tuesday this week, and we were in Steamboat Springs. Annual ski trip with the fellas. 4th year in a row we've done it. We went to Steamboat Springs this year. I had never been there. A beautiful place, amazing skiing. We had great weather. On the last day it snowed, so it was like a perfect powder day, and it was a Monday, so the resort wasn't as busy. So much fun. Mostly the days consist of waking up, scrambling to get all of your stuff, get on the little shuttle bus to the resort, ski literally from the first chairlift and gondola that goes up, come off the mountain when it closes, go back to where we're staying. Usually we have a hot tub. That's like one of the keys we look for when we rent a place. Is there has to be a hot tub. Have a hot tub and a couple of beers, decompress, go inside, make a feast. We made like spaghetti and
carbo load.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Carb load before the race, and then we kind of just hang out, play cards, watch movies all night. So, some of the nights, like one of the nights we went out on the town in Steamboat, hit up a couple of the breweries, went to a few of the bars, saw a band.
Colorado, right?
Colorado. Steamboat's in Colorado, yeah. And they have their own airport there, which was absolutely clutch. So yeah, ski trip for me with the fellas. No bad accidents to report. Nobody got arrested or too out of hand. We all made it back in one piece with some pretty good memories. So overall, successful trip.
Yeah, like I've said, I would love to get more into some ski trips. I've got a roommate that has sort of a similar trip that you do, and like if you can get in on something like that and then like make it an annual trip. I've seen like your little video you made from the trip. It looks like a trip of a lifetime for some people. Like it's just perfect. So yeah, that looked fun. Yeah,
it was so much fun. And this is our 4th annual trip like this we've done. We've done like smaller offshoots, but this is like the 4th big one we've done. And I just started skiing 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. The first year I was so intimidated by the mountain. I still get intimidated, but I couldn't even make it down like a bunny hill my first year skiing.
Yeah, I was there.
And thanks, man.
You got to start somewhere.
I know, but it's just crazy how much better I've gotten in such a short amount of time. I'm so much more confident and comfortable with those skis under me. I'm not going to get cocky enough to say I'll go out and do anything and it won't intimidate me, but I can handle most runs now. And last year I had a pretty bad fall in Park City, but I'm so much more confident in just a couple of years, and that's only skiing like 10 days a year. It's crazy how much better you get in such a quick amount of time. But yeah. Ski trip for me, absolutely amazing. Glad to be back because it was pretty fast and furious, and I'm getting old now. But yeah, that was my highlight. We were in Colorado skiing for 5 days.
Nice.
Any other highlights from the last week that you can think of quick?
No, I mean, it was pretty jam-packed with those events, but excited to get Mitch in here. I played in the pond hockey tournament that we're going to be talking about, and it's a blast. Like, it's incredible how well organized and how many people get together and have a good time there. So it's going to be exciting to hear from him about his experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with no further ado, let's kick it over to our good buddy Mitch Cowger to talk about the U.S. Pond Hockey Championship, Polar Plunge, and his favorite Minnesota activity. All right, today we're joined on the podcast by Mitch Cowger, one of my good friends and actually Max's older brother. Mitch is an experienced veteran of the U.S. Pond Hockey Championship and has recently completed his first Polar Plunge. Mitch, I know you got a lot going on today, but I appreciate you breaking out some time and getting together with us. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
I know it's been a while since we've gotten together. You're so busy. You also coach Little League, or I think it's Bantam hockey, and you guys are getting ready for districts. How's the team looking?
Yeah, you're right. You showed that you're not a real hockey player with the Little League comment there, but I like it. Bantam A's in Edina. It's actually my 8th year doing it, so I've been doing it for a while. I really enjoy it. Our team's doing great. As always, the Cake Eater town is pretty heavy in talent. They just need a little coaching. So we're headed to regions in Shakopee this weekend, looking to punch a ticket to the state tournament in mid-March. So pretty excited.
Yeah, I was more of a baseball guy growing up than a hockey guy, if you can't tell with the Little League comment. But if you win regions, then you guys go to state. That's like the big deal, right? Making it to state. Yeah.
So for youth hockey, there's a lot of different levels, but essentially you start in districts. You play districts, you get ranked. A few teams get out of districts and make it to the regional tournaments, which in Bantam, Minnesota, there's 8 teams per region, 4 regions. So there's 32 teams left, and then 2 teams come out of each region to make an 8-team state tournament.
Got it. That makes sense. Mitch or Max, at this level when you were younger, did you ever make it to state and make it out of regions?
Absolutely not.
What do you mean?
I personally never made it out of whatever the first level was. We would always immediately lose.
Was there like a juggernaut that you always had to get through?
Well, I'll touch on that a little bit. I made it to regions once in Bantam A's. This is actually a great season to talk about with you, Matt, as Buffalo, as some of your fellow listeners are in the same district as where we're from, Hutchinson. We had a good battle that year back in probably 2004. But we did not do well, of course, but we made an appearance at the regional tournament.
Got it. So you guys were always getting dummied by Buffalo at districts, and that's why you never made it out.
Sure. Yeah, you got that right.
Yeah, Hutch isn't really the hotbed of hockey within this state, unfortunately, but I think I can only remember one time winning in what's before regionals?
Districts.
Yeah, in the district tournament, like usually we're a low seed playing a higher seed. I'm pretty sure we upset a team, and I'm 90% confident it was Buffalo, and I remember being so excited because we won, but then we had to play like the 1 or 2 seed after and lost. So
yeah. For a small town like Hutch, if you make regions, it's kind of like your state. Maybe Buffalo, not quite that big, but for Edina, if you don't make regions, you'll have the parents on you for.
Yeah, you're laughed at.
They'll get you fired from the volunteer position because it's state or bust.
I couldn't imagine.
I didn't even know there was a state tournament until Mitch started coaching hockey. Like, I never followed
for
afterwards. Bantams. When I was in grade school playing youth hockey, Little League as you call it. But
right.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
This weekend at regionals. Did you have any kids from your team that you're coaching play with you at the pond hockey tournament this year?
I did not. No, they actually have a strict rule about 21 and up. I think they try to avoid the alcohol versus hockey mix. No underagers or anything. So no kids are allowed to play. But eventually, once I get old and gray, I'll hopefully put together a stud team with a bunch of 24-year-olds and I'll play the back end.
Yeah, the Mitch Cowger alumni team.
There we
It's
go.
got a ring to it.
Yeah, that's actually a great idea.
So how many years have you done the U.S. Pond Hockey Championship, and how did you first get into it?
Sure. I was trying to think before we got on here. I think I've played either 6 or 7 years. The first year I played was I played with a group of guys that there was someone I worked with at Wells Fargo who invited me to play. Had never actually heard of the tournament, not growing up in the Twin Cities. It wasn't that big of a deal. I think it started with only a handful of teams, maybe a dozen. So it wasn't necessarily widespread. So yeah, a coworker had asked me to play. He was the only guy on the team I knew. Showed up just thinking pond hockey, but when you really see it in person, it's a sight to see with how many rinks there are and how many people there are and the buzz, and it's just a great event.
And what's the best you've ever done? How does it work? Like, you play games Friday, Saturday, and then championships are on Sunday, or how does like the structure work? And then what's kind of the best you guys have ever done? Yeah,
it's evolved throughout the years. I don't remember when I started how many rinks or teams there were or divisions, but it's as of now, there's a lot of divisions. I mean, if you want to talk about just strictly skill level, there's the open division, that's the top. Then it goes into the cedar, which is the second. Third is the rink rat, and then fourth is the bender. Self-explanatory. Like, if you can tie your skates, you can play in the bender. I've seen it this year for the first time. It's kind of fun to watch. It makes you feel really good about yourself.
Well, I'd fit right in.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. I don't know if I've seen you skate in a while, but you honestly, if you can tie your skates, you're in. Yeah, which is great because
don't they play a week before though?
There's 2 weekends now. Yeah, this was the first year or maybe second of it, where the first weekend is bender and
rink rat.
And rink rat. There is a second bender that plays on the second weekend.
Oh, okay.
For guys that can't play on the opening weekend. I think there was only 4 teams this year, so those are the guys we saw getting dressed when we were coming in, which I was confused on. Just you can kind of just tell the skill level, even when they're getting dressed. So there's a lot of divisions. There's also like 40 plus. There's a women's division, which is really strong. Obviously, that's great to see building the women's side of it. I think there's even there is a 50 plus as well this year.
If see, I can skate forward just fine. It's the going backwards that trips me up most of the time. So I think that's where I might fit in with the bender. I had no idea that there was different divisions, so that's really good to hear for somebody like me who never really played growing up, can kind of skate, but was concerned about just getting embarrassed and tripping up trying to skate backwards. So that's good to hear. Somebody was telling me today, if you play let's say you signed up for the bender division and your team absolutely smoked the other team, would they ever come to you and be like, you're not playing in this division, almost like you're too good, you need to move divisions?
Yes. I don't know the exact rule, but I believe at least in the cedar division where I've typically played, it's either top 4 or top 8 from the previous year have to opt up into the next division. So we've never, I guess to circle back on your question, what's the best we've ever finished? We've never quite made the top 4 or 8. I think every year I've played, we've always made Sunday, which is great because you have to win your division on Friday, Saturday to make it to Sunday. We've made Sunday every year, and we've always either won our first game or I should say win 1 game or 0. So we've never quite made it far enough where we have to opt up. But it's a great rule to keep teams humble. Everyone wants to win, of course, but it's there's a point where some teams are out of place. So
they let people that lose a lot move down, of course.
Got it. And that's based off like your team name that you registered. If you register the same team name next year, or is it the team manager or whoever registers the team?
It's the team. Obviously, it's easy enough to track with the team name, but of course, there's ways that people try to cheat and read between the lines of the rules. I believe your roster if it has at least 4 or more of the same people from the previous team that made top 4 or top 8, whatever it is, you have to opt up. So there's been teams that do really well, and then they'll basically cut 4 or 5 and make 2 teams and kind of stay, which is fine. But it does keep out some of the teams that were winning a few years in a row.
Got it. That makes sense. And so Friday and Saturday, it's kind of, is it like a pool play? Like you're in a pool and everybody, these 6 teams or 8 teams all play each other, and then whoever does the top out of those move on to Sunday? Or how does that work?
Yeah, it's a typical tournament format pool play where there's 5 teams in each pool. You play all the other 4 teams in your pool. So you play 2 games Friday, you play 2 games Saturday that are all guaranteed. And then if you win your pool, you make it to Sunday. There are a few wildcard teams depending on how big the pool of, if we're in which division, Cedar, let's say, depending on how many teams there are, they like to get to 32 on Sunday, or a number that makes sense for how many teams signed up that year.
Okay, that makes way more sense. So kind of like if you sign up and register your team, you're guaranteed at least 4 games. If you do really bad, you go home. If you do good, then you're going to get to play at least 1 more game on Sunday, and then Sunday's kind of like a single elimination tournament.
Elimination bracket style where just you win, you move on.
Got it. And the games themselves, usually pretty fun, usually pretty chippy. I've kind of heard like there's some Tommy tryhards out there that can kind of ruin it for everybody else because they're way too intense. Or like, what's the competitive level while you're out there?
I mean, it's a good mix. There's some guys that like to live in the glory days, of course. The top division open previously was the top division, no doubt. Like that's where all the best teams played. But it's gradually became a lot of those teams, unfortunately, can't compete with the top, let's say, handful of teams. So they're now falling into the second division, which is where I've found myself mostly in the Cedar, where most guys played at least high school. If not, I would say the majority played something post high school, juniors, college, whatever it was. So everyone still has that edge that it comes out of everyone. Like you wish you were still playing, and this is your kind of your one weekend where you can maybe bend the acceptable level of effort a little bit. On a Sunday night in men's league at Parade or wherever you're playing, at Augsburg at 10:30, no one wants to go 100 miles an hour. You're there for a workout, have fun, talk to the guys, have a few beers after. Like it's a great time. But the pond hockey tourney, now there's something on the line. And a lot of these guys that, maybe either didn't make it to where they want to and still think they need to prove themselves, or guys that just, they can't get out of the game, are going game 7, just balls to the wall. So it depends. Usually later in the day, as the drinks flow, the games get a little chippier too.
Yeah.
But I still enjoy it, as far as the majority of the people out there are there for the right reasons and don't cross that line.
Okay. And pond hockey's different than like watching hockey on TV. There's no goalie, right? There's no net. Can you explain, how do you score again? Like there's a little slot, or how does that work?
Yeah, Max can probably chip in too. It honestly, the style of the game depends on the weather. As you guys mentioned in your last podcast, it could be -15 and the ice is super hard, and that's going to create a really fast game, way chippier, because guys are moving. If it's 35 and sunny and the ice is wet and sloppy, now it's hard to move. So it's not nearly as chippy, but there's nets. They have a hole in each side. It's basically a wood net, probably, I would say 4 feet wide. Would you say, Max? Maybe 3.5.
It's basically 2x6. That's 4 feet wide, and then like another 1.5 feet on each edge.
Yeah.
And then they just put some plastic barrier there so that you have, essentially just a little 6-inch by 1 foot slot you can slide a puck into on each corner.
Yeah. So it's got to be basically on the ice, because it's got the ceiling on the net too, so it keeps the high shots out of there, which is great. No one's shooting waist high. But it's tricky to score. Like I go back to is when it's warm, you can't really score from a long ways out because there's so much slush and water.
Right.
But when it's super cold and hard, like people are shooting from the end of the other end of the ice because you can get it there easy. So it changes the game a little bit. People with more experience, I'd like to say, fare better with the ice conditions, just knowing the different structure on how to play.
What's the etiquette on somebody playing goalie or like just keeping their
You
stick?
can't play goalie, yeah.
So is there like a line that like you have to be in front of, or how does that work to stop people from just putting their stick in front of the slot?
Each game has one volunteer ref, so that's like part of the gentleman part of the whole tournament is like there's only going to be so much that this one ref can do. And yeah, there's like these written rules that they have to enforce or have to do their best to enforce, but you can't play goalie, and like the specific rules, like you can't be, I can't remember. There's some kind of like probably perimeter that they actually outline in the rule book, but you can't be standing stationary in that area. You can skate through it, but like you can't be in that area stationary playing goalie. And so like there's so many different like situations where like somebody could be accidentally in there for like a couple seconds, and then it's like, well, there's always like these little arguments that happen every game with this volunteer ref. And so like you have to go into this tournament and just have that expectation that like there's not like on ice refs, like we're not sending it to Toronto for review. Like you got to just kind of play and be a little bit easygoing with that.
They don't have Wes McCauley out there making calls.
Right.
Yeah. It's tough.
Just like any sport, like if the ref is not firm from the start, like things get out of hand.
Yeah.
There's going to be goalie play. There's going to be checking. There's going to be slashing. There's going to be chirping. Like,
do they call penalties?
They do.
Like if you slash somebody, what happens? You off the ice for 2 minutes?
It's got to be pretty excessive.
Okay.
You know, they're not calling anything soft. But they'll warn you hard if they're a good ref right away so that it doesn't happen. But if they do call a penalty, it's a penalty shot from center ice with no goalie.
Got it. Okay. But they're pretty lenient on that unless it's aggressive. And then
the slashing and body contact, yes. The goalie, it depends. They can get there's 26 rinks, I believe, this year. So you have
good refs,
probably
bad
40 refs out there.
Yeah.
You know, there's 26 at a time, but taking breaks, whatever. So you get a lot of different ways that they approach it, but the good ones they'll make it known right away. Like, this is how we're going to call it. And like, if you cross that line, we're going to call penalty shot. And that just usually makes things a lot easier.
How many penalties were called this year in your tournament?
Like on games that we played in?
Yeah.
2. I took a penalty shot and someone else did. So
yeah.
Okay. In all of the games too. You played like 5 or 6 games.
We played
2.
Yep, we played 5 games.
Okay.
So,
like that's the last thing. I think most of them they probably have like group meetings. Like they want to be there just to sort of oversee things. They don't want to have an impact on the game. So they're gonna like chat with you first before they're making these calls.
And I've been there a couple of times as a spectator. It's a pretty fun atmosphere. So they have basically a building's turned into a warming house, right? And then they have they have a bar in there, and then they have like a DJ during the day or after the games, or what's the atmosphere
huge
like?
Tent in the parking lot at Lake Nokomis, and that's really just for like it's a warming tent, yeah, but it's supposed to be just for people like getting ready and putting their bags and stuff like that.
Do they have
beer tent? I don't know what they did this year, but it's usually down on the ice. They'll have
fun.
a beer tent.
yeah, it's all weather dependent again. I mean, it changes year to year. Like if it's nice out, like I can remember a year where it was like 25 and sunny, where like ice was perfect, and there were so many spectators out there that it was just, I mean, I bet over half the people there weren't playing.
Oh, really?
You know, like if there's 26 rinks, you have, I think there was over 100 teams in one division. I mean, we have hundreds of teams of 8 guys and gals. I bet there was a fan or 2 for each player, and people just come out to watch / hang out on the ice. There's a big, huge Red Bull tent fire pits. There's everything out there.
Red Bull this year?
Or Labatt Blue or Mick Golden, I forget. There was a guy walking around with free Red Bull this year.
Oh, okay.
So
Fun. Yeah, I think they were there the year I was there too, with like the backpacks on.
Yep, that's what he had.
He was definitely there the year I was there. Okay, so it's a fun atmosphere. Even if you're not playing, you can go hang out, have a few drinks, have a few Red Bull, watch, spectate, meet people. Is there like music going on? I don't know why I keep coming back to the DJ, but I thought I read there's like an after party or a DJ or something like that.
There's not a DJ that I know of. They do have tunes. It's hard for 26 rinks wide to have music loud enough for everyone to hear that. But when you get close, there's good tunes. So if you want to be at the hub tent in between all the rinks and just hang all weekend, maybe go watch your one team play for half hour and then you go back. It's great atmosphere.
Have you seen anybody take a puck or a stick to the face and chip or lose a tooth or like get a bloody nose or anything?
I've seen several people, yes. People that I know. Max got cut last year.
Did I?
Yep,
God,
he did.
You're so tough, dude. You
I don't even
remember.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a daily occurrence, so it's not a big deal. You fight through it.
Us hockey players, yeah, we don't keep those records.
Yeah, I have a good college buddy, Jared, who got cut probably 4 years ago.
That one was pretty bad.
That one was pretty bad. They used to have, they didn't this year, but Tria was like there, and
fun.
anyone that got cut,
yeah.
they would. I don't know if it was free, but they were given like stitches out like candy. I mean, it was pretty cool.
And it was all people like in nursing school that are just trying to practice on people.
Probably, yeah, yeah. They stab you and stick you up, and I don't know if it was free, but yeah, they were doing that, and they have like free skate sharpening there, and they have everything to like make it like a great event, so you don't have to leave.
That's awesome. What's your best or most relevant memory from it? Do you have anything that stands out?
I was thinking about that. There's not like again, every year we've made it like to the same game. So we've never had like this deep run that I can remember. What sticks in my mind is the years that it's nice out and that there's just a lot of people out there. Where between games, you're not like taking your skates off and running to the warming house to like warm up. You're just hanging out outside in the sun, and you go to the tent and have some drinks, and you see people that you would never see at your normal daily life, but you played hockey with them, or they're dating someone that plays hockey, and it's just like a big group of really happy people.
Yeah. And it's really like bring the hockey community that is there in full force. So if you kind of grew up playing hockey, you're going to start recognizing other people you played with or against, or their spouses,
exactly.
That sort of thing. Okay. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Have you been there for the championship games? Is it pretty packed and lively?
I haven't. We stuck around actually quite a bit this year, but the thing that happens is as teams get eliminated, people start, who are affiliated with those teams start leaving.
Okay.
Also Sunday, I don't think is quite as rowdy as Saturday. So Saturday is like when everyone comes out, and that's still pool play. And then Sunday's great, but the first game's always at 8 a.m. So people are typically slightly hungover. And they're getting there early, they're playing, and if they lose, they're out of there.
Got it.
So the crowd I don't think is as good as you would think. The crowds are bigger on Saturday, I should say, for pool play games than they are for the championship.
Mm-hmm. So if you wanted to go just hang out, Saturday during the day would be the day.
Yep, or Friday. Friday, I mean, it starts at 9 a.m. Friday too, so if you can get out on a Friday too, that's just as good.
Okay. Last question for you. If somebody was like me and had never done it before but was interested, what would you say, or give them some guidance? What's the best way to go about maybe getting into it or getting signed up?
I mean, it's just like anything else you do. I mean, it's pretty easy to sign up. As far as recruiting your team and what level to play at and how many guys you need. I mean, it's an 8-man team. I would say if you didn't play any high school hockey, you're going to fit right in on the rink rat.
Okay.
If you can't skate like at all, then you're looking at the bender.
When you're on the website signing up, is it pretty self-explanatory, and do they do a good job of walking you through like different skill levels? This is what you're looking at, or do you just kind of know, like how you said going in, these are the levels, this is where you should go, or do they do a decent job walking you through that?
In my opinion, no. They say that Open is like A and B level men's league, and Cedar is like or C level men's league, which I don't know how C level men's league equates to basically varsity or college hockey players. Everyone always plays down because they want to do well. So no, it's not great.
Okay. But you've kind of explained a little bit. You could get to the site and figure it out now, where you should end up. And like you said, great advice. If you're not sure, maybe play a league down because you'll feel more comfortable than to try to outkick your coverage and get with those guys that can skate backwards when you can't.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to go wrong just signing up for Bender, Rink Rat, getting a feel for your first time, and then go from there.
Fun. All right. Well, I appreciate the insight. God, this dog is driving me nuts at my feet. She keeps whining at me. But let's talk about your polar plunge experience next. This was the first one you did. Where was it, and kind of how did you get into it?
Yeah, it's never done it before. It kind of popped up through work. One of my coworkers, Carrie Faber, has a daughter who actually is on a Special Olympics team who the Polar Plunge benefits is Special Olympics Minnesota, which is great. The kids get up for this, and it's their huge fundraiser for every year. So allows them to do whatever sport they do, and it's so fun to see any Special Olympics team the joy they get at this event. Especially, but also just knowing that it's benefiting all their teams and how much fun it brings them. So through work, our team name was called Page's Plungers, and basically you if you host a team, you can sign up as an individual as part of that team, and I believe you have to at least raise, I think it's $70 as an individual to be able to jump. You can't just say I want to jump and show up empty-handed. It's not a hobby or a leisure activity. It's something that we want to work to raise money. So everyone on our team, everyone pretty much worked at our company or was part of the Faber family or group. Had to raise $70. It was easy for me. I have a cheat code with my parent group that I coach the kids for. So I just sent the link to our group chat and said, would love for you guys to donate. And I think I got like $700.
God. Cake eaters just flushed with cash.
Yeah. Out of our team.
Though.
Generous.
Very generous. Out of our team of 15, I think I was number 2 or 3 as far as how much I raised. I think our team raised over 10,000, just our team. So it's a great event to raise money for again, Special Olympics. But it was my first time, and definitely doing it again.
So it's for Special Olympics Minnesota. I didn't know that. That's awesome. You sign up as a team or an individual, and then you just ask people to donate. You send them a link. They donate money. Then when you get there, where was it, and how does it work when you're there? Do they say like, next up is Team Faber from Tradition Mortgage with a total donation amount, and then you guys all jump, or where was it, and how does that part work?
Yeah, it's a pretty big event, but as far as like how much me as a plunger is involved, it's so quick. Basically, you show up, there's a warming tent, you can change. It was really like a dude locker room. Like everyone was getting ass naked, like putting their suit on. Or
whoa, buddy, chill.
Kid show.
It's a kid show.
Kid show, my fault. But I would say 90% of the teams are wearing some form of costume or matching shirt or matching something. So everyone's in there getting changed, getting their gear on. And then once you're up, you walk outside. Yes, they have a guy like a DJ or an MC.
Yeah.
There's music bumping. There's a big crowd there watching, and they announce like what team you're on. And then you jump in and you run out and you go right back in the tent. So the time I was actually outside was probably less than a minute or two.
What lake was it at?
It was in Maple Grove at Fish Lake Regional Park.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it was kind of wild because, you hype it up and you do all this planning and fundraising and everything, but the time you're actually involved in the plunge is only a minute or two. I've heard there's other plunges that will have like a hot tub or a sauna after you get in that you can go like hang out in and watch. They didn't have that at this one, which was fine. It was actually a beautiful day out, so it wasn't super cold.
So anyone can do it. Like you don't have to be intimidated by jumping. So they cut a hole in the ice,
Yep.
and then you're jumping, and then you're getting out of the ice cold water. But really, anybody could do it because you're only in the actual water for a few seconds.
Yeah, you're in the water for. I mean, they cut the huge hole at probably 4-ish feet deep. I would say all of it is, and then they have like a set of stairs they actually like put in there. That's, I'm sure, designed for the event. That as soon as you jump in, you walk right to these stairs that you walk out easy out.
Okay.
So yeah, you're not in the water, and you hype it up so much that it's not as cold as you really expect.
Do they like record it on video, and can you like share that video with like your sponsors or anything like that, or is it live streamed anywhere?
That's a good question. If they don't, they should. We had our marketing guy, Mike Greenlay there, he took video of it. So it was easy to just cut the part that I jumped in, and I put that out on social media. But I don't know if they have a live stream. That'd be kind of cool. You could almost like pay to watch, and then that would help them raise more money.
Yeah. Did you guys dress up at all? Did you have a matching uniform, or did you all just wear your traditional mortgage shirts? Or you jumped in suits?
I mean, we weren't worse dressed, but we had matching t-shirts. So not terrible, but when I got there and saw how everyone else was doing it, I was definitely slightly disappointed in our effort. There's people that go completely all out, which was great to see. It's fun. But yeah, we at least had matching tees.
Okay.
It was our first time, so we're warming up.
Rookies. And I saw online, this isn't the only one they have, right? I think they have like 25 different events, and they do it somewhere different every weekend throughout the winter. So if you didn't do it there, like it's not too late even for this year, right?
No. I mean, there's a lot of them. I don't know. I'm sure you can do them all if you want. I know there's a guy on Channel 4, Channel 9 News that apparently goes to them all. He was at the event because he did his quick jump, and then he ran out and said he was going to the next one. I don't remember his name, but yeah, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of opportunity to go. Again, you can sign up as individual. Anyone will take you. You just got to make sure you raise that minimum. I believe 70.
Yeah, I think it's $75 I saw online is the minimum.
Yeah, I got that in a few minutes.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So if somebody's thinking like, that sounds stupid, like why would anybody ever do that? Obviously, there's this special Olympics initiative, but like, what about the people that are like kind of scared and think it's dangerous?
It's a good question. Don't show up, I guess.
There's people in the water, isn't there?
Oh, like scared of like drowning or like getting into dehydration.
I've seen videos, so I'm pretty sure they have all the safety bases covered.
I don't remember if there was a guy in like actual like wetsuit and like almost scuba gear. I think there was like standing in the water. So like if you were to go under and like not come out and go underneath the ice somehow, they would have a guy that's like right there.
Yeah.
There is like a lot of people, like we had anticipated jumping in as like a twosome, but like we were jumping in, like there's probably 12 people in the water at the same time, and like everyone's jumping in at the same time. So a little tricky for the scuba man, Scuba Steve, probably to find you, but I don't think it's possible. I mean, it's again 4 feet deep. You jump in, it's cold, but if you're going under, there's guys there to help.
Yeah.
If you're going down.
That's kind of the picture I got too.
Okay.
Like
most people barely get their, like, don't even get their head wet. A lot of people like jumped in and just like landed on their feet and went. I did a full cannonball because I was like, I'm going all the way under.
That a boy.
I mean, full send or no
but
send.
People kind of like jump in like a penguin, and then they kind of waddle and don't actually go underwater.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, they're on their tiptoes when they're walking out too, and it's like, come on.
Yeah, that would be me. I'm just kidding. Was it cold or not too bad? You said it was a nice day.
Yeah, it takes your breath away, of course. But it's not like a surprise. You were hyping it up for the whole morning, and everything where your adrenaline's going, and it's not like you get pushed out of a boat or you fall into the ice in the winter where
Yeah.
not only is it cold, but it shocks you mentally and physically. Like, you're preparing for it. So
Yeah, you got a little bit of adrenaline, right? Like, it's a whole event.
Yeah.
You're not cold till you're getting out.
Yeah, little butterflies. It's good.
And Max, you said did you fall in the lake or did you purposely jump in the lake? You had your own polar plunge experience. What happened?
Yeah, this was mid-February. It was like a Saturday night. We were out celebrating a friend of mine's birthday and we were playing pickleball at the Minneapolis Cider Company. And we're talking about Super Bowl, and I was like, Super Bowl isn't until what, like 5:30, I think. So I was like, well, what are we gonna do all day tomorrow? And I, out of the blue, was like, I have because I like to go spear fishing, so I have all this equipment to cut ice. So like, I got all this in my truck. Like, anybody want to jump in the water tomorrow? And two of the dudes that we were with, Sean and Will, were like, yeah, like, we'll do that. And like, it was like, okay, it's 9:00 on a Saturday. We've been having some drinks, and it's like, we're just talking out of our asses. But I held everyone accountable that had committed to it that night, and like got up the next morning, like 8 a.m. or so, and went and cut a hole at this lake that's just down the road. And basically said like, all right, I'm out here, wait for you guys. And so we did our own little polar plunge. I just cut a little, probably, I don't know if it was 4 feet by 2 feet, pretty small. Like, you're not jumping in as a group. And I had never jumped into that cold water before, like through ice. So kudos to those two for showing up. And then I felt like I had to lead the way. So I jumped in first, and like my plan was to do like a pencil dive, because it was probably 10 feet of water. But then like the people there were like, oh, that's like stupid. Like, you're going to like get trapped under the ice. So like at the last second, I changed my mind. And so like I stuck my arms out to like prevent me from, and so like my arms and elbows like absolutely like banged against the ice, like on my way down. I have a video of it. Like, it looks really bad.
Like that?
Oh, I've seen it.
Yeah,
That's
like
funny.
it looks like, but that's exactly what happened. I was going to pencil dive, and at the last second changed my mind. So I stuck my elbows out, and that's how literally narrow it was, that my elbows hit the edge of the ice. And all it really did is prevented me from sinking like all the way down to the bottom. So I did go probably like a foot under the ice, banged my shoulder up against the ice on the way up, and then immediately popped out. But like Mitch said, I thought the exact same. Like, I have been in cold water before, but not through ice. And so like I was expecting it to be way worse. And it was Super Bowl Sunday. I don't know if anybody remembers. It was like 30 something that day. So after I got out, I didn't need to like rush into the house or anything like that. We hung out in our flip flops and shorts and a towel for a while and just talked about it. But kudos to the Will and Sean for showing up. They actually like popped in, like fully controlled, sat down, like took a quick 10-second bath, and then casually popped out. So my video looks like extremely uncoordinated, unorthodox, and then they like dipped in and took like a nice little, I don't know if you've seen those videos about like Iceland people going down and like just taking a quick ice bath, but that's what they did. And it made me look a little.
Well, maybe you could start your own philanthropy event, and next year when you cut it, you gotta require everyone donate to something before they jump in.
Maybe I should.
And then you should keep all the money for yourself.
Yeah.
No,
this did not.
That's only you.
Yeah.
Did not start with that, but it could definitely evolve into something like that.
There
it was
we
pretty
go.
fun, actually, when everything was said and done.
Yeah, I know it's pretty common on Cedar Lake in South Minneapolis. There's a hole in the ice that's open to the public, and you can just go take an ice bath in there. And it's pretty common for people to like groups to meet up, people to go after work, and you just sit in there for 30 seconds up to 5 minutes, come out. It's actually really good for your body. There's a company that does that now, Embrace North. I don't know if you've heard of it. I think it's $35 a month. It's a membership. And they have a sauna with ice baths set out front, and you just show up, or you pay your membership, and then you reserve a time on their app. But then you just show up. You can ice bath for as long as you want, and sauna for as long as you want, and you reserve like an hour block. And so I thought it's kind of a good little business model. Somebody was telling me on our trip that they might have to shut down over some like legal technicality, but yeah,
That's
those
the
ice
thing.
baths
Like,
are
if you
super
start
popular.
something like official and organized, like you probably have liability things to cover.
There's more to the story than that, but yes,
There's a cancel culture out there for everything.
yeah, this is something like I don't know if it was some people in the neighborhood that it's in started complaining and trying to get them shut down. But yeah, those ice baths are super common nowadays. I wish my gym had one. I've been complaining for months to the front desk that they need to get an ice bath.
There is one. I think at one of the lifetimes that one of my coworkers goes, he said like, but they don't clean it.
Mm-hmm.
So like everyone's just constantly jumping into this thing. Like, I don't know. That doesn't sound great to me. I'd rather jump in a lake, but
Yeah, that's part of the
Can
thing.
they put
the
like
reason they're
chlorine in
getting
it or
shut
something?
down.
Like same concept as like a pool?
I don't know, but that's part of the reason that they might be getting shut down as sanitary things. No, they sell high-end ice baths where it's like a
Probably
hot
cycles
tub
the
where the
water.
jets come through and
filters
cycles
it
it.
and
Yeah, they have ice baths that do that same
Yeah.
thing. They're just pretty expensive. Yeah, the Lifetime in Edina has
that's the one.
they have the ice bath. The Lifetime that I go to in St. Louis Park, they do not have the ice bath.
Ooh, we got to upgrade to the Onyx.
I know. It's $20 more a month though.
Well, like one of Max's friends actually bought like a cow like water bucket thing, and he just does it in his backyard every day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a little trend going around where, I mean, obviously it's got to be winter, but you do your own little winter ice baths.
Yeah, grab the hammer every morning, you go knock it free, and you jump in.
I've actually thought about setting something up here and having people over and buying like a little 4-man sauna for a couple $1,000 and just having our own little sessions.
It
But
feels really, I mean, I haven't done a ton of ice baths, but like it feels so good after you're done. Kind of cleans out the cobwebs. It's like a good morning routine. I think that's what Trace does, my friend that has the little backyard operation going.
fun.
Oh yeah, inflammation cure is what they say. I haven't read up on it, but that's the buzz.
Right,
Yeah.
it's supposed to be like a post-workout or
Mhm.
game thing, right? I mean, I've never done it, but
Yeah, I have heard best time to do it is first thing in the morning too. But
Right.
yes, you feel a lot better. It's good on your muscles, especially when they're sore and tight, and it's really good for inflammation too.
yeah.
We got a little off the rails. Back to the polar plunge. If somebody was interested in doing it and signing up, any advice for how they should get into it?
I think it's as simple as just going on the site and signing up, and then recruiting your team and just being aggressive and yeah, take some pride in raising money and get a theme and do the costume thing, and it's obviously for a cause, but it's fun. That's the point of it, is to go out and do something fun that is for a good cause too, not like volunteering and picking up the ditch garbage. Like, yeah, that's for a cause, but it's not fun. This is, fun, and you can raise money. So, yeah, everyone should get out and try it.
Alrighty, Mitch, we want to ask a closing question here. As an adventure podcast, what's your favorite Minnesota adventure?
Well, it's a deep question, as there's, as you guys know, so many activities: winter, summer, spring, fall, whatever it is. It seems to change every season, which keeps us on our toes, which is great. I was thinking about it. I wanted to pick something that's exclusive to Minnesota. Of course, I could have picked golf, which I love to do with friends and my wife and family. And, I could have picked boating or hunting or one of those other activities that we like to do outside. You guys touched on biking last week, which I enjoy. But specifically, my favorite activity is going to the Boundary Waters.
Good
Hell
answer.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unbeatable. If you haven't done it, go do it. It's so much different than what some people would say, going camping or going kayaking or going canoeing. It encompasses everything and into just another level or experience that if you haven't been there, you don't quite understand. And I like to do it purely Boundary Water like trip, where like we don't bring in any alcohol, really. We don't bring in any like food to necessarily cook these huge meals. We go in and try to catch fish for our meals, and we live kind of, I guess you would say, as close as you can off the land, bring minimal equipment, and really just enjoy nature. It's fantastic.
Yeah, Boundary Waters is a great answer because, one, it's pretty exclusive to Minnesota, especially northern Minnesota. There's not a lot of other places like it in the country. I know we've all been there a handful of times together. I love the Boundary Waters too. It's just the peace and quiet of getting away from me. And the other thing I don't think people, if you haven't been there, one thing you don't understand is it's all of these little lakes that are very close together, like walking distance, but they're not connected. So you'll canoe across a lake, you'll grab your canoe, kind of put it on your shoulders with all of your gear, walk to the next lake, or portage as they call it, get to the next lake, canoe across that lake, and you're just going further and further into the wilderness, getting more and more remote, and eventually, right, you kind of find a place you want to set up camp, fish, catch your own food. But for me, the Boundary Waters is just all about that solitude and that peace and quiet. No motorized boats. Not another person in sight. It's just you, your friends and family, and nature. So Boundary Waters, absolutely love it. Max, I know you've been there a bunch of times. What's your take on it?
I mean, I want to say 1 million acres. So, like, although a lot of the trips I've done have been on, like, the exact same route, you have kind of this ability to be creative and go somewhere different every single time. Plan your own different trips, different length trips, different routes. So I think that's pretty cool, and that's something I want to, like, cover more ground and do more trips on, because a lot of them have been doing, like, the same exact trip, which has been an amazing trip. But I think there's way more out there in that Boundary Water area that need to get a look at. But always have a good time up there. It's really fun to, even if you can somehow get reception, I just love not having any sort of way to get on your phone and tap into social media or any of that stuff, or be tempted to look at something work related. It's kind of nice to just use your phone for maybe pictures, and that's it.
Like, fully disconnect from the world.
Yeah.
It's really the only place I am able to do it. I mean, everywhere else you're too tempted to just, check your phone, but there you can just put it on airplane mode. Or some people, I used to not bring it. Now you bring it for pictures, which is, you can't pass that up. Mm-hmm. But, throw it on airplane mode and, like, literally you don't talk to a soul for however many days you're there. I like to go, 3-4 days is usually perfect. And like Max said, like, it's just, and it's the solitude and the quiet and no people, and it's just pure nature, pure adventure. It's, you're working out, you're outside. There's no negatives that I can think of besides the 5-6 hour drive if you're in the cities here.
Any highlights that come to mind, or any big stories that you can think of from it?
So many good trips. There's a few not so good ones with bugs. You can run into bugs sometimes. I think I tried to count before I came. I think I've been 14, or if you count winter, 16 times.
Holy.
So, the ones that I remember most are the ones that we catch the most fish. I'm not a huge fisherman, but that is like my one trip that I take a year or two, depending on if, when I go, is to catch fish. And when you really get into them, it's so much fun and so rewarding. And obviously the good weather trips or even the bad weather trips. The one year it rained and it was 40 the whole time. Sounds miserable talking about it now, but just in the moment, you enjoy just other things that you wouldn't think that are out there, and you don't appreciate until you realize what you have back home, maybe, and just you just live.
Have you ever been on ones where people flipped their canoe out there and had to, like, swim to shore, or, like, lost any gear or anything?
Oh, multiple times. So we've had probably, I can think of 3 broken paddles. We've had a full tip before, where backpacks, everything, actually lost a backpack going down rapids. I don't remember. Did who flipped once on our trip?
I mean, one of the stories, Matt and I were in a canoe one year, and he did like the big no where you're pulling up to, like, dry land and you got somebody in the back of the canoe and the first guy gets out and hops on the land and starts yanking the canoe and that tipped the whole canoe over. That might be what you're
Classic.
remembering. I mean, I know on trips that I've been on, that's happened like 2 or 3 times where like you have to stabilize yourself and kind of have like a communication between the two, usually 2 people on a canoe and like be prepared.
Yeah.
Or I'm thinking of another story. This was back in high school. One of my buddies, we sometimes we did cliff jumping. You can find a good spot where there's really good cliff jumping. And honestly, I was actually too afraid to go off of this one. It was really high. I don't know high, Corey's in St. Cloud, like higher than that top one, which is pretty high, especially when you're out remote wilderness. And my buddy, Dolger, he dislocated his shoulder jumping off this huge cliff. He left his arms straight out wide and just instant dislocation. So I canoed the rest of the trip, miles on my own, which was fantastic. I am thinking of another bad story. We left our portage, went out for a 4-day trip, left our fishing license, driver's license, and canoe permits all on the landing of the first spot we left. I guess bright end of the story, it was all still sitting there 4 days later when we got back with people like coming in and out. So
the DNR never stopped.
I've never heard that one.
No, and we actually slept in Canada that night. Oh, our maps were in there too.
No.
So it was like pure, like everything important to us that we brought with, which isn't much, was all in a big Ziploc bag, like right at the start. But we got through.
Yeah, we talked about the DNR a few times. I know a good story for you, Mitch. I don't want to talk you up too much, but I remember one year you brought your shotgun, and we kept saying the whole trip, like, there's no point of that. You're not going to shoot anything. Like, nothing's in season. And you just you had your shoulder strap, and you strapped a shotgun to your chest while you canoed the whole day, like you were Rambo or something. And we kept making fun of you. Then the last morning, we were in our tent, and we just hear a loud boom. Like, what's this dude doing, just shooting across the water?
Matt and I were in the same tent. We're like, that was a joke.
Yeah, we thought that was a joke. You shot a freaking grouse, and you threw it in our tent. You unzipped the door and threw it in our tent. That was actually pretty badass, because I thought bringing the shotgun and strapping it to your chest was just a bit, but then you actually shot something, so that was pretty cool.
I had fully lost hope until that last morning when I woke up, and you can hear grouse sometimes pounding, or I forget the term they use, but drumming like 10 yards from my tent, and I was like, no way. And I had obviously my gun in the tent.
Yeah.
I get out, it's barely light out. It's probably like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And just big old, like you said, boom.
That was
Didn't know if I hit it, went and grabbed it, unzipped your tent, just chucked it in there and unzipped it back. Oh, that was good.
I know another time we went, I went with a bunch of guys, and it was majority of them, it was their first time. And some of them had never been to Canada. So we were camping on an island, but like the next piece of land was Canada. So we were going to canoe over there and then like get out and walk around, because then they could say they went to Canada. But it was really windy that day. And so we grabbed the canoes and just like our fishing stuff, because we're going to fish on the way. The lead canoe, well, we're going across the wind, not with it. So we're going directly across. They get like 50 yards from the island across this opening, and they flip the canoe. And they lose their fishing stuff, goes to the bottom of the water. And it was actually kind of scary, because it was so windy. It was really hard to get to them. But we get to them, we bring them back. They finally made it. And then we're fishing off the island a little bit later, and we catch a rod, a different rod. We catch it, we reel it in. It works completely. The guy that had lost his fishing rod just put a lure on the rod we had caught from the bottom of the lake, and he starts casting out and catching fish with it.
That's awesome.
That was pretty funny.
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, we also brought a drone that year, and I don't think drones are allowed there, but we didn't really know that, and we got some really cool footage from his drone on the island we were on.
Got to be careful with that Canadian border too. Pretty sure.
Yeah,
yes.
that's the Quetico. I don't think you can camp there, but you're supposed to even bring your passport if you canoe on a lake that like one side is Canada, one side is US, you're supposed to have your passport on you.
Ah,
Because the water's technically divided in the middle.
Yep.
Like if there's a river that's part of the Minnesota-Canada border, technically half of that is Canada.
yeah. Well, the DNR, those Do Nothing Right committee, they were nowhere to be found. So we pulled through. No, but yeah, Boundary Waters, phenomenal choice, and that's a great one for a Minnesota activity because it's so unique to Minnesota too. And until you actually go, you don't really realize it because we're the land of 10,000 lakes, right? But that's where it really shows because there's all these little pockets of water that are so close together. So that's awesome. Anything else you can think of for the Boundary Waters?
I mean, we could tell stories all day about it. Maybe another podcast.
This will be a
but,
little teaser.
Yeah, we could spend hours dissecting the Boundary Waters and how to get there and what to do and how to pull permits for sure.
yeah, like from start to finish, how do you go? Where do you go? How do you find maps? How do you pack food? What's the best strategy for the portaging? We could go on and on.
Yep. Yeah, man. I love the Boundary Waters. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Good luck with practice tonight.
Thanks. Yeah, it was a good time hanging out with you boys. Good luck in the rest of your episodes here, and I'll be back whenever you need me.
Thanks, man. Whip those boys into shape. We hope you make it to state. For everyone else, that's all for today. Thanks for sticking around. Next week, we'll be joined by my friend Kelsey. She's going to be talking to us about bandy. What is bandy? Stick around and find out because I don't know what it is either. She'll walk us through all of that. Until then, hopefully you get a chance to get outside and adventure. Bye, everybody.